Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am very excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all for episode number 182. If you missed my last episode, 181, we talked about why you shouldn't give up, the importance of perseverance and in continuing in something that you believe in and that makes you feel good and inspires you, and really the importance of not giving up. It can be really easy to give up on something when we don't have the results we feel we deserve or that we've put in the effort for. But it's not until we continue and never give up that we'll begin to see those results. And so I definitely encourage you to tune into that episode if you have not already. If you are watching video, you will hopefully see, fingers crossed, from the bottom of my heart, fingers crossed, that the video quality should be a little bit better. I switched to a different camera. Shout out to my partner for giving me this webcam. And he gave me this camera a while ago. And I'm gonna fix it here because I think it's a little crooked if I'm being honest. We're learning, we're navigating. Full transparency, it intimidated me. It intimidated me to switch up what I was doing. However, we're growing, we're evolving, and it's time that our quality, our sound, our video, editing, everything is just ready to level up a little bit. I'm going to be re-recording my intro and outro today, which I'm super excited about. It is definitely time, and I'm just excited. I was doing my calendar earlier, and every Tuesday and Thursday I write which number of episode will come out on that day. And as I was getting to the end of December, I'm like, oh my gosh, we are gonna hit 200 episodes in February, which is beyond crazy, beyond my wildest dreams. Today's episode is one that I am so excited about. If you know me, you know this podcast, you know that my mission, purpose, love is talking about self-love and the importance of self-love. And you guys, I have something in the works happening behind the scenes. I do not know when this will launch, when this will, fully come to fruition. My goal is in the next 3 months, we will make this happen. But it is all about mental health and self-love and something tangible that I'll be able to share with all you guys. And so very, very excited for that. So definitely wait for my announcement for that. Today, I want to share with you guys 4 powerful ways to improve your self-love. It's interesting when I do brainstorming and reflecting for these podcast episodes, because the thing about mental health and self-love and trauma and really anything in this category of subjects is that it affects all of us differently. What self-love means to you means something different to me. What self-love looks like to you could look something different for me. And so I can never preface enough the importance of individuality and taking what I'm saying with a grain of salt and implementing into your life what feels right and what resonates with you. Because although I can share these tips and tricks with you, it's going to look unique to all of us. And it can sometimes feel worse when we hear these generic, overarching statements and we're like, that doesn't really work for me. And we start to almost feel like, well, what's wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? And so I just want you to know that this is going to land for each and every one of you a little bit differently, and that's okay. That's what makes you you and makes you the individual, beautiful person that you are. I feel like, as always, I like to start with a story, and I shared a lot about my self-love journey in episode 180, where I shared my keynote speech with you all. But I kind of want to pivot a little bit what my story is, and instead frame it from the way of, I always knew that I wanted a better relationship with myself. As someone who has struggled with negative self-talk and self-criticism, self-perception, self-belief, self-worth, really as long as I can remember, I've always been chasing to have that healthy version with myself. And the thing is I want you to assess for you, what are you comparing that to? When you think of a healthy version with yourself, what comes to mind? Is there a person? Is there, I remember looking at TV shows when I was younger thinking, they must love themselves so much. Look at all their confidence. in a world that is full of social media and comparison and editing on our photos and all this stuff that just distorts our perception of self, we're likely all chasing, not likely, we're all chasing a better, more beautiful, more in shape, more successful version of ourselves. And if that rings true to you, I want you to know you're not alone, and welcome to today's episode. By the end of this episode, my goal is not to give you all the answers, quick fixes, but instead to raise awareness on just some different things that can help you improve your mental health and your self-love. Because I think those two things really go interchangeably together. When our self-love is lower, our mental health often always takes a hit. And when our mental health is struggling, our relationship with ourselves struggles. Because when our mental health is off, it's often because something is triggered, something is, hurting us, which can send us into shame and into overwhelm. And so these are four things that I've really done in my life and incorporated into my life, and that I've encouraged clients to incorporate into their lives, things that have also been taught to me. And so I now want to pass those on to you. And so without further ado, let's jump into these 4 different ways. We all know, and we've seen either on social media, or we've heard it from a counselor, or we've heard it in a video, whatever. Oh, just tell yourself kind things. Just tell yourself that you love yourself. Tell yourself you're beautiful. Tell yourself you're smart. Well, I don't know about you, but I remember the first time I looked in the mirror and I tried to tell myself consciously something nice, I froze. And I was like, is this supposed to be easy? And then that sent me down a deeper shame spiral, because I'm like, how are these people doing this? This feels disgusting. This feels weird. I feel selfish. I feel gross. I don't believe it. And so I just want to first start off by saying that just telling yourself kind things right off the get-go is not the starting place. I know that that's what we're taught. And so we learn to believe that what we see in the media is what will work for all of us. Just telling ourselves kind things often doesn't work. However, the first thing that I really want you to begin to do is to notice your thoughts. Notice the things that you're telling yourself about yourself to yourself. Whenever you go to try something new, are you telling yourself, I can't do it? When you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror, are you telling yourself you're ugly, you're fat, you're less than, you hate your body, you hate your legs, you hate your hair, whatever? Begin to notice the things that you're telling yourself. We can then work towards improving what those things are. But the first step is to just become aware of it. They say awareness is the first step. That rings true for self-love as well. Begin to get to know, what are my go-to things that I tell myself? What is my go-to internal dialogue? And I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. 'Tis the season. Amazon, 'tis the season. This happens all year round. But Amazon is here a little bit more than usual. So if you hear her in the background, I do apologize. If she keeps going, I am going to pause. Just as I suspected, I was going to have to pause and reevaluate. She just gets so excited when people get here. And by that I mean full protection mode, which is great. Mama Bear is very happy that her baby protects her. But that is the first thing. Lost my train of thought there for a minute, you guys. Notice your thinking. Notice what you tell yourself. One thing that was super helpful for me in the beginning, and something I still have to do, put sticky notes around your house. And write on it, what am I thinking about? Set a timer on your phone, and every time it goes off, you check in with yourself. Have a cue that every time that cue happens, you check in with yourself. Once we get into the habit of checking in with ourselves, it becomes more second nature. But what happens is our thoughts run subconsciously in the back of our mind. And when we don't notice that things are running its course, we don't realize that it's starting to affect our mood and our quality of life. The more that we can check in, get that mind-body connection back online, and just begin to notice, then again, that's a stepping stone to begin to work on challenging them and changing them so that we can improve what they are. in tandem with that, which I didn't write down, I want you to know that just because you have a thought doesn't mean that it's true. I gave the example during my keynote of saying elephants are pink. It's a statement, but it doesn't mean that it's true. Hopefully now you're thinking about a pink elephant. But it doesn't mean that that statement's true, but your mind will begin to picture it and see it and believe it. How do we know that our thoughts are no different? That the things we tell ourselves are just like that pink elephant? It's merely a statement, but it doesn't mean that it's true. The second way to improve your self-love, you guys, I cannot stress this one enough of how much it helps you love yourself. Keeping promises to yourself that you make to yourself. I don't care what area of your life it is. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, do it. Because every single time that you tell yourself you're going to do something, or you keep a promise, or you make a promise to yourself and you don't keep it, you're breaking trust with yourself, which is impacting your self-love. I've given the example before, but I'll give it again. If your friend broke as many promises to you as you do to yourself, would you still be friends with that person? Most likely not. Yet we do that to ourselves all the time. I'm gonna go to the gym tonight. And then that time comes around and we're like, I don't feel like it. I'm not gonna eat junk food tonight. And then later on comes and we give in. Oh, I'm gonna start my business today, next week, whatever. And that time comes and you don't do it. We're learning to not trust ourselves. We need to become our own biggest supporters and best friends. And one of the best ways we can do that is by keeping the damn promises that we make to ourselves. We let ourselves down just as much as other people, if not more. I would guarantee you more than other people. And we don't recognize that that has an implication on our relationship with ourselves. So much of self-love has different avenues. Yes, it's like the physical of like what we see. It's those internal conversations, but it's also that trust. Are you your own biggest enemy? Do you tear yourself down more than other people do? Yet we look externally to get that validation. We depend on people externally to lift us up, to fulfill us, to affirm things about us that we want to be true. But it starts within you guys. And I know it's so much easier to look externally because looking in can be icky and weird and gross and we don't like it, but it does get easier. But the more time that we allow our subconscious to take over, we break promises with ourselves and we look externally, all we're doing is elongating that process from healing and from evolving. And so, as best as you can, try to keep promises that you make to yourself come true. If that means setting smaller goals, setting, not making as many promises to yourself, that is better than making them and breaking them. I promise you that. Okay, number 3, recognize where you're investing your energy and ensure that it's feeding you. When I think back to the times of my life that my self-love was at an all-time low, yes, I was a big chunk of that equation. However, it didn't help that then the people that I surrounded myself with, the job that I was doing, the hobbies I was doing, were equally as toxic. How we invest our time and our energy matters so much in our relationship with ourselves. Because if you're spending time with people that you don't even really recognize, but they are tearing you down, that's impacting you. That is hurting your relationship with yourself. And I know that I just said, a lot of it comes from within. External factors do matter. If you're in a relationship with someone who tears you down, that's affecting you. If you're in a friendship with people who do not support you, that is affecting you. If you are in a job that you do not feel fulfilled or recognized or valued in, that is affecting you. We are wired for connection with others. We are wired to seek that approval and validation from others. And when that is also not being met, that is hurting our self-love. And so I encourage you to write down, I've shared this exercise before, all the people and places you're investing your energy into. What are you investing into at 0 to 10, and what are you getting out of it 0 to 10? If you're investing an 8 and you're getting out a 4, that is bleeding you a -4. When I first did this exercise of feeding and bleeding with all the things in my life, I think I had one feeder. One. And that was my business. Everything in my life was bleeding me, and I'm like, no wonder I feel like shit all the time. No wonder I'm miserable. No wonder I'm sad. We gotta look at how we're investing our energy because it matters deeply. Number 4, last but not least, and you guys, there's so many. These were just the top 4 that I thought of when I was sitting here. There is infinite amount of ways to improve your self-love. These are just the ones that are good stepping stone. Obviously, we can go deeper with these. But number 4 is to listen and honor your intuition. It's so easy to listen to the voices and opinions and whatever of everybody else. Guess what? They don't know what's best for you. They might think they know what's best for you. Only you know what's best for you. How do I know that? Because we only know how we feel internally. Only we know what our intuition is telling us, what our heart is telling us. And when we allow other people to come in and manipulate that and try to steer us based off of their experiences, it's not always accurate. Sometimes people can give good advice, and I think that it's important to value, the opinions of other people in some way, shape, or form, especially if they're ahead of you in the same arena. But if I had somebody commenting, telling me how to be a better podcaster, and they've never recorded a single podcast in their life, they're probably not the people that I should be listening to. But if somebody who has more episodes than me or more reps than me or whatever gave me advice, I'm going to listen to that with intention. We have to be very mindful of who we allow into our mind and to persuade us. It's so easy for our best friend to tell us something's dumb and not to do it. But what if they're wrong? What if they're projecting their beliefs about themselves of what they think is possible onto you, and you are believing them and then not taking that leap? I say that example because that is exactly what happened in my life. I allowed friends in my life to try to persuade what I was doing, and then I would go so far into left field and be like, I'm not happy over here. This is what you want for your life, not what I want for my life. And I had to make very hard decisions and get people out of my life that were not allowing me to honor my intuition. And then my life started to align. Your intuition, I'm going to go on a stretch and say it's rarely wrong. I'm not going to say never. Rarely is it wrong. Those gut feelings you have them for a reason. Do not ignore them. We're very good at ignoring that internal voice and trying to turn it down and ignoring it. That is something in you saying, hey, please listen, please honor me. And every time that we go against that, we're really just going against ourselves, which is almost like building a wall between us and our true self and our true north and our heart and our intuition and our higher self, or whatever it is for you. We're blocking that. We're pushing more resistance between ourselves. Trust your intuition and honor that it knows what's best for you, and it's telling you things for a reason, because it cares and because it loves you, because it is you. I want you guys to know that improving your self-love is not an easy journey. It's not always the most fun journey, but it is the most rewarding one. The only person you are guaranteed in this life is you. That's it. From birth till death, you are the only thing guaranteed in your life. So the one relationship and one person you should really be consciously investing your time into is yourself. And I hope you know how worthy you are of that. And if the people in your life make you feel like you're not worthy of that, get them out of your life. I'm just going to be blunt about it. Life's too short to have people in our life that don't encourage us and lift us up and make us feel good. They're just not worth it. And I would have never have been able to say that 2 years ago, but I'm at a place now and recognizing it's like, get rid of them. They're not worth it. Trust me, better people will come into your life. But not until we make those decisions and know that you're worthy of having good people, good relationships, and a good relationship with yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Self-love is honestly my favorite topic in the whole wide world. It is the most near and dear thing to my heart. It is my top core value. It is something that I will shout from the rooftops until the day that I'm no longer here, because I know what it's like to be in such a toxic space with yourself, to being at a place where, and I'm not saying I'm shouting from the rooftops with confidence. Trust me, I've looked at myself even 10 times in this video on my monitor and been like, oh God, maybe you should have picked a different shirt. Oh, your hair is a little whatever. But I'm noticing it and I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It is what it is. I pushed through it. And I don't have to buy those thoughts. I don't have to believe them. Sure, maybe I should have picked a different shirt. Sure, maybe my hair is whatever. That doesn't take away from who I am as a person. And those are the conversations that we get to start to have with ourselves, not until we start to notice it. So I'm sending you guys so much extra love. You are so worthy of building that relationship with yourself. And you are so capable of improving that relationship with yourself. So thank you all so much. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share this with someone you think would enjoy. If you are watching on YouTube, if you could subscribe, follow along. And I just have so much love for each and every one of you, and I am so excited to chat with you all next week. Bye, you guys.